Juozas Kazlauskas was a photographer and film director. He made a significant impact on Lithuanian culture and made a great contribution to Lithuania's photography and cinema history. His art was unusual and it covered a wide range of topics, starting with the photographs and documentaries while traveling along Arctic roads, visiting places of Siberian deportation, and documenting the rise of Sąjūdis and the changing contemporary Lithuanian culture. The entire exhibit is to commemorate the suffering of the innocent victims of Stalin's deportations, of Stalin's death machines. Juozas Kazlauskas himself, as a child, was deported to Siberia, where he grew up in the high Arctic until the age of 15. In 1988 and 1989, with liberalization of travel within the Soviet Union, Kazlauskas and other people from Lithuania traveled to previous deportation sites. And on these trips, previous deportees returned to the sites of where they were incarcerated. And I think the most moving pictures that Juozas Kazlauskas made are this set that we have on display, the set of 8 images. You have a woman that returned to the cell that she was incarcerated, a gentleman, 2 women, friends incarcerated in the same cell, return to the locations, and Juozas Kazlauskas photographs them. Here you have a woman looking on the site where she lived in the high Arctic. 3 generations. The grandmother, who was deported, her daughter, and the grandson, all together visiting the site of deportation. Here you have father who was deported, showing the site to his son, preserving the history. Much of what he took no longer exists, the photographs he took. When he started exhibiting these pieces, the then Soviet government and subsequent Russian government were embarrassed. Teams were sent out to clean things up, such that now if you went back to visit these sites, much of what he photographed no longer exists, has been exterminated, has been cleaned up. In organizing this exhibit of his work, I wanted to, just as in using the title Hope and Spirit, wanted to have a sort of a positive aspect to this activity. Although the numbers of people who were killed, who were deported is massive, the death and darkness is massive, there still was the hope that survived. And that hope kept living on in the Lithuanian community, such that decades later it blossomed into a free and independent Lithuania and the demise of the Soviet Empire. In organizing the framing of this exhibit, I put alternating facing each other. On one wall are black frames, and the opposite facing wall are silver white frames. The black, the death, destruction, deportation, the silver white, the hope and spirit that kept people alive. I put this image out of the Kazlauskas photographs right here on the first wall. When you come in, you can see it. It is a burial site of a person who's Jewish. It's important to know that Stalin killed very many Jews. And actually, historically speaking, until the beginnings of World War II, with Hitler's invasion of Poland, Stalin had killed many more Jews than Hitler had. Stalin's genocide wasn't based on religious or ethnic background. It was based on political motives. Anybody who was a potential opponent, Jew or not, received the same kind of deadly treatment. Now, knowing the time period and the history of total repression going back many, many decades, almost 5 decades of time, it's not surprising that there was a movement in Lithuania to bring back the remains of departed people. And over those 2 years, a total of 117 grave sites were opened up and reburied in Lithuania. However, preservation of these historical sites is more important. And that became clear to people themselves, that such that over the past 10 years in Lithuania, a program called Misija Sibiras has done exactly the opposite. Every summer, teams of youth, primarily young professionals, go out by bus to locations across Siberia where deportations took place. And instead of bringing things back, they are re-experiencing the hardships of Siberian life and preserving the monuments, the cemeteries, and other buildings that were built by the Lithuanian deportees. So the purpose of the Misija Sibiras is preservation so that future generations could continue to go back and to see the horrors personally that the deportees had to face.